Hi everyone, welcome back to the Java class. So let us continue the journey to learn multi-threading in Java programming language. So let us understand the concept of multi-threading with the help of a programming examples. This example we have done in our previous video session. So if you have not watched that video session, so please watch first, then only you will be able to understand these applications. So let us see what we have done in our previous video session. So we have created a class thread counter that contains a variable thread name, a constructor and a method count thread. Inside a main class, we have created multiple instances of a class, and using these multiple instances, we are calling a function count thread. Along with it, we are calculating the total time required in order to process these methods by multiple instances of a class thread counter. And if you will see the output of this program, and this is the output of this program, all threads are started in a sequence. The first instance 1 will complete its execution, then instance 2, and then instance 3 of a thread counter class, and this is the total time required to process the count thread function. That is, you can see total time is 7609, right? So this program is not a multi-threaded programs that we have done in our previous video session. So how will you make this program as a multi-threaded applications, or how can you just utilize the power of multi-threading concept in Java programming language? So let us first understand how to create a threads and what are the different steps which are required to create a multi-threaded application in Java programming language. So here you can see we have two primary ways to create a thread in Java programming language. The first method is by extending a thread class, and the second method is by implementing the runnable interface. In this video lesson, we are covering the first approach to create a thread, that is creating thread by extending a thread class. So what are the different steps in order to create a thread by extending a thread class? So we have three different steps. The step 1, define a class that extends a thread class. Step 2, overrides the run method. Step 3 is creating an instance of your thread class, and you will start the thread. So these are the different steps. You can have a look of it. Define a class that extends the thread. So whatever the class you are creating, that will extend a thread class. So thread class is a class which present inside the java.lang package. So this is a built-in Java class that provide the different methods of a threads, right? Step number 2 is you will override the run method. So what is it? The run method contains the entire body of a thread, or we can say this run method can be considered as a heart and soul of a particular threads. So whatever the body you would like to provide inside a thread, you will put inside the run method. So this is the step number 2. Step number 3 is you will create an object of your thread class, and you will start the thread by calling a start function. So this start method is present inside a thread class, and by calling this start function, your thread will be start. So these are the different ways, or the way to create a thread by extending a thread class that contains 3 individual steps. So let us move to our programs and implement all these steps in order to make your program as a multi-threaded program. Okay, so let us just continue the process to make this, or to convert this program as a multi-threaded program. So let us come to the step 1. Step 1, you will create a class that will extends a thread class, right? So this is a class that will extend a thread class. Inside it, the step 2 is you will just override. Step 2 is override the run method, right? So run method will contain the body of a particular thread, or it can be considered as a heart and soul of a particular thread. So how will you override? Just go to the source. You can go to override implement methods. So these are the different methods which are available inside a thread class. So we have to override the run methods, click on it and OK. So this is the run method body. Inside it, we can remove this part, or the body of a thread, I can provide this. This can be the body of a thread. So I can call this function that a count thread. Okay. So this method is throwing some exception. So I can just fix it by surround with try and catch. So this is your run method. So I will just move this method from here to this part. This is the step number 2, right? So you can see the step 1, create a class that will extend a thread class. The step 2, you will override a run method, or inside it you will provide the complete body of your thread. So inside run method, we are just calling this count thread, and we are considering this is the body of your threads. Your thread will process these statements, right? So what is the step number 3? Step number 3 is you will create an instance of a thread and you will just call the start method. So here you can see, in order to call the count thread method directly, you will just call the start function in order to start a thread. So here you can just call tc2.start, and here we will just replace tc3.start, right? So now your steps has been completed, and let us run this program. So let me add a small statement inside it also. So in order to know the child thread has completed its execution or not, so I can display a small message here, right? The thread name is exiting. I can just display a message. So it will display which thread is exiting when, and I can add a small message also in the main method because this is a main thread. So here I can display main thread exiting, right? Okay, so far what we have done, let me just show you again. We have just created a class that will extend a thread class. Then after this, we have overridden the run method that will contains the body of a thread, that is we are calling a count thread method that will throw an exception of type interrupted exception. So we have surrounded it with a try and catch. Now inside main, we have created the multiple instance of a thread class, and we are just calling the start function in order to execute the threads. So start method is present inside a thread class in order to start a thread. So let us run this program and let's see what will be the output of it. So let us run this and you will see what is the output. So here we go. You can see it is showing total time is 1, and main thread exiting. Then you can see the power of multi-threading. Multiple threads are executing simultaneously. So here you can see the thread 3 and iteration 0 started, and after this you will see there is a small delay, right? There is a small delay. So during that time, the other thread can start its execution. So thread 2 has started, then thread 2 will just delay for 500 milliseconds, then thread 1 will start. Or in the similar way, this delay method is providing the context switching between multiple threads. When one thread will have a small pause to display some statements, so during that time, other threads which are in the queue, they can start their execution. So here you can see the multiple threads are executing, and it is showing the thread 1 is exiting, the thread 2 is exiting, and thread 3 is exiting. So what is, and let us understand the output of this program here, right? So you will see it is showing the star first, then it is showing some time, right? And time is very less, 1 millisecond, then it is showing the main thread exiting. If you will see here, let me just run this program again, and you can see this is the main function. Let us run this program again and you will see what is the output of it. So here it is showing, you can see you will get the different outputs every time because all threads are running simultaneously. So in this case, our main thread is exiting first. If you will see the output from the beginning, it is showing the body of the main threads. So these stars is displaying. Then it is showing the main thread exiting first. It is calculating some time. So main thread has finished its execution first, and it is just showing the time, the total time required to process the main thread is the 1 milliseconds. And after completing the main thread, your child threads are still continue their processing, right? So in this case, main thread is executing first, and your child threads are just executing after the main thread. So that can be possible. The Java virtual machine will finish the main thread first, and your child thread will continue their executions after the main threads also. That can be the possibility, right? So how can you understand how much time these threads are taking in order to execute the count thread function, right? So we can add a small sleep time, right? We can add a small sleep time in the main thread also. So how can you just add a small sleep time in the main thread? So I can just simply write a thread dot sleep here, right? Or inside it, you can add a small delay, right? For example, I'm just adding a small delay of 3000 milliseconds in the main method, right? So let us run this program and let's see what will be the change in the output. So here you can see what is the change in the output. Your threads are executing, and your main thread is executing at the last, and the total time required to execute all these threads are 3009. And you can see the how much time you can just save, right? How much time you can save. So in this is the power of multi-threading. So we are executing multiple threads simultaneously, right? And here we have created three different instances. If you will compare the time to execute all these threads, in the case of multi-threading, it is taking right now 3009. But in the previous case, it was taking little bit something like 75 and 76 milliseconds, right? So multiple times you can save by executing multiple threads. Or even in this case, if you will execute 100 threads simultaneously, it will not take much time to execute multiple threads, right? So guys, this is the concept of multi-threadings where multiple threads are executing simultaneously. So guys, I hope you understand the concept of multi-threadings. The next session we will come with the new topics. Thank you. Bye bye. Have a great day.